Hello everyone, Tom here, taking a quick moment out of my nice cool evening autumn ride to do a quick 2,000 mile review of my Boom Vader Gen 2 125cc motorcycle. I picked this motorcycle up this year, did the final assembly in my garage. It comes in a crate. I've been kind of gentle with it as far as upgrades. Originally I just did the break-in period and then try to hold up on any upgrades. After the break-in period, I did some upgrades to it, but let's go over some quick things I just want to point out, just in case you're interested in looking at getting a Boom Vader or possibly any type of Grom clone motorcycle, since these guys are so closely related. The biggest feature of this motorcycle is its low price. I mean, it was less than $1,500 to my door, delivered. In the process, compatible to other motorcycles of this quality and this much fun, this is really, really low priced. And the nice benefit of that is there's enough money left over for anything you don't like. There's another feature is cheap upgrades. Any money you save can be kind of directed towards upgrading this motorcycle and making it your own. Performance upgrades, reliability upgrades, comfort upgrades, all like a blank canvas that can be just worked on at your leisure. So let's talk about some of the bad things about the motorcycle. If it was perfect, you would not hear anybody doing upgrades, but the truth is it's not perfect. Being a Grom clone, it's not a Grom. It is a carbureted engine. It is kind of low powered, and the 2022 Groms come with 5-speed transmissions. This is a 4-speed transmission. So it's geared a little low and it revs really high at the higher speeds. And we'll talk about the higher speeds. It's relative. There's some poor design features on here. The big thing was my gas tank leaked. It's kind of like an insidious leak. It started out small. I could smell some gasoline. Then I thought it was like a part was failed, so I was going to try to replace that part. It was a gasket. However, it was actually the design of the tank is made of very, very thin metal, and the spot welds tend to pop, creating pinholes, and then it tends to leak. Go ahead to my blog. The link is in the description below. There was a little bit of back and forth as far as how to fix it. Tried to do it myself, which ultimately failed. And I got some outside help, and it's running well now. The other thing too is it is carbureted. So the engine's tuned, I believe, for a higher altitude. So it runs really lean and has a hard time getting power at my altitude, which is close to about 400 feet above sea level. But that's the nice thing, once again, is it's upgradable. As you can see, I have done some upgrades. Towards the front of the engine, you can see that the airbox that was originally part of the motorcycle has now been removed. That airbox forced the air to make all different turns and angles, kind of torturous. So I think it starved the engine a little bit of power. The carburetor and air filter has been changed. It's now a foam air filter. The carburetor is a larger carburetor as far as I figured from the diameter. It's also tunable. I can change the jets in it based on what altitude I'm riding at or maybe what temperature. Because it is a larger carburetor, the intake was changed as well. It is slightly bigger than the stock intake. Add in that, look at the exhaust. That is not the stock exhaust. The original exhaust sounded very tinny. It was very sheet metal-ish. It also seemed to be a smaller diameter exhaust pipe than what this is. Originally, that exhaust was shiny chrome, but as I've ridden this bike, it's taken on some blues and golds and tans that are like more of a temperature thing. I think it adds to the character. And it does look like some type of carbon fiber pattern. I did not check to see if that was actually carbon fiber, but I'm happy with this exhaust. It sounds a lot better. It feels like a little bit more pick up and go. And you could see the size of that exhaust of the muffler. It really does put out a little bit deeper sound for what's essentially a tiny, tiny engine. So with the carburetor increasing power and tunability, and exhaust increasing power, and of course the great sounds, I added another upgrade, which is on the left side. You won't be able to see it because it's under the sprocket cover. The original stock sprocket was a 14-tooth sprocket. I upgraded to a 17-tooth sprocket to try to increase the top end speeds. So what ends up is it's worked pretty well. I got higher top end, but I will admit the acceleration and torque, as far as its ability to climb a hill, has declined. I just have to shift it into a lower gear, and it tends to rev this little engine out. So let's talk about reliability upgrades, because I mean performance is our first choices, but reliability is a concern. The motorcycle chain that came with this Boom Vader, it was questionable whether or not it would actually tolerate some of these performance upgrades and harder riding styles. So I changed the motorcycle chain. It's a O-ringless, so more power goes back to the rear wheel. It requires a little bit more maintenance, but I'm okay with that. I use a chain wax, which happens to help keep it clean. At the same time, it keeps it lubricated and protects it from rust. Performance upgrade. Well, we already talked about the gas tank leak. That was kind of a sad thing, but I'm going to point out something. You can see what looks like a gold colored nut and bolt right there. That is the top engine mount. And towards, hopefully we can get that in view, there's the head of a gold bolt right there. So this engine only has two mounts on it. They're both 18 millimeter. And once again, the performance upgrades and the riding style seems to lend towards failure. The rear lower engine mount actually did fail and break. The 18 millimeter bolt actually broke, slid out, and I was able to ride it home, but it vibrated quite a bit. I was rather impressed that one engine mount stayed intact and got me home. I immediately replaced those bolts with same size bolts, 8 millimeter, but more reliable quality of material. I rode around for quite a while. It worked well. Then I started following some of the forums, and I found that a lot of people recommended not just replacing the bolts, but upgrading the bolts. I actually drilled out the engine mounts. It was mostly the engine mount on the frame side, which is steel, not so much the engine mount holes on the engine side, which appear to be like a cast aluminum. So I drilled them out to 3/8 of an inch. That correlates to a 9.5 millimeter diameter bolt. As a result, not only did I increase the bolt mount size from 8 millimeters to 9.5 for reliability purposes, it seems to hold tighter. There's some recommendations that said that the engine mount holes were oversized compared to the frame mounts holes. I'm not really sure, but it does seem that might be the case because it seems more solid. It's much more enjoyable to ride. Remember something, this is a low price motorcycle, so you will be left over with some cash that you can once again do these upgrades. Now, of course, there's creature comfort upgrades. The motorcycle seat, it's lockable. You can, what happens is that you can use the ignition key to come around onto the left side of the motorcycle, and there is an actual keyhole right there. What that is, of course, will lock the motorcycle seat, but it doesn't provide very much space underneath. I keep my papers under there, registration, as such. So I wanted something to keep some more items. I got this small tail bag, very low priced, off Amazon. There's some information about it below on my blog. Just follow the link, please. And then, of course, you can't go anywhere without a cell phone, of course. So I got a cheap cell phone holder so that I can use it for my GPS or just be aware of like what time it is, or anybody's trying to get in contact with me. The nice thing about this motorcycle, it is great to go out and get lost in, but when it comes to the end of the day, you got to be able to find your way home. So having a cell phone on the handlebars for directions is awesome. Just want to get into this shot of the front. Personally, I think it's a sharp looking motorcycle. I mean, the dual headlight thing is kind of nice. I mean, it kind of stands out. It kind of also, with some activities, I go out and meet other people, I get little beeps, and not just the waves, but little beeps back. It is a unique looking motorcycle. Just if you got any comments, or you happen to ride a Boom Vader or any other of the Grom clones, leave a comment below. I want to hear about your experiences and everything, because believe it or not, I don't think I'm stopping here as far as buying these types of motorcycles. I really do enjoy this, and they're fairly easy to ride, and I think I could probably get more friends into riding with me. In the meantime, I hope to see you out there. I'm going to get back on my bike, enjoy the rest of today before the sun sets, and I hope you have a good weekend.